What's going on, everybody? I wanted to give you another Voyager update. Last I talked about Voyager, the judge approved the sale, and then the DOJ, or Department of Justice, came and appealed it. Well, we have some recent news here to go over. Let's look over it. I also want to look over the chart, show you what Bitcoin's doing and VGX in comparison, and give you my thoughts there, what's going on. So let's do this. And I'll also leave you the court docket down below that goes over this. It's like 18 pages long or something. And I'll also leave you a bunch of links down below for some stocks, cryptos. Get a discount on TurboTax if you still need to do your taxes, and those links can definitely help you out and help out my channel. But let's look at this recent Voyager news, and first off, let's see what the market's doing. And here we have it, a typical Friday sell-off. Although you'll see that the large cap tech is doing okay for the most part. We've got Google, Nvidia, Microsoft up, everything else looks like it's dropping. However, that's not the case for crypto. And we've got Bitcoin hitting new highs as of this upload, as of today. Now, looking over this, you'll see that towards the end of February, it found resistance here at this 25.2 again, which was a previous resistance back in August. Wasn't able to break out. It pulled back, tested 19.5, bounced off that 200 MA, and started going parabolic after that. Bitcoin did touch 27,000, and it seems like it's just inches away from 28, but it is likely to consolidate before we get our next move. We are becoming overbought on many of the time frames, but this is definitely good to see. Bitcoin has been continuing up and has been hitting new highs that it hasn't seen in literally months. And I do want to mention this again. I've said it a lot of times lately, but Bitcoin did have a flip. The 50 flipped over the 200 MA, which is known as a golden cross. And the last time we saw that was back in September 2021. And the last time before that golden cross, we saw a golden cross back in May of 2020 when Bitcoin was only about $7,000 in price. So it's definitely a useful thing to be aware of. Typically, a golden cross is followed by an epic bull run, just like typically a death cross is followed by a bear market. Not always, but most times. Now, I also wanted to pull up VGX, show you guys that, unfortunately, when Bitcoin goes up, this doesn't get all that affected. It's because, one, a lot of people have their money tied up on Voyager Digital, and it's all locked up. Another reason is there's a huge catalyst. We're waiting to, finally see that this bankruptcy deal is actually complete. There's a lot of uncertainty. The SEC keeps getting in the way. The DOJ now has been getting in the way. But this judge seems to have our back. He's definitely, in my eyes, looking at our best interest, the shareholders, the crypto holders, the people stuck on Voyager. But you'll notice that it's been in this just long tightening, long consolidation. It's been getting lower highs, but it has been getting higher lows. It's been tightening up in price. I do think definitive good news that Binance is finally getting Voyager's assets will cause a spike on VGX, but play it at your own risk. And one thing I wanted to show you guys that Bitcoin saw as well, we did see a flip, also a golden cross on VGX here, back in the end of February. However, it does look like it's about to flip back. So keep an eye on those moving averages. I also want to go over this article here. It goes over the deal and talks about the DOJ. And I'll also leave you down below the link to that court docket. It's definitely a bit of a long read, but I think it is worth reading. But this article essentially sums it up, and it reads, a U.S. bankruptcy judge declined to delay the sale of crypto lender Voyager Digital to Binance, saying Voyager customers should not be forced to wait out a challenge by the DOJ that's unlikely to succeed. And this judge, Michael Wiles in Manhattan, ruled on Wednesday, just a couple days ago, that the department had mischaracterized the scope of legal protections he had granted to Voyager employees for actions to carry out the sale and rebalance of its crypto portfolio. And it does talk about this in the docket. And he also said the government can step in at any time if it believes illegal transactions are happening, but has not presented any evidence that Voyager's transactions are illegal. And in that court docket, he also said, you had all this time in the world to go after Voyager, and now that we're in this bankruptcy, now that things are almost complete, now you have an issue. But remember, guys, if things do hit the fan, just to keep it PG, Voyager did say earlier this month that they can still pull out of the deal and return customer funds. But in a previous article, it does go over how by Voyager doing this, we're going to get about $100 million total less back. So it will be less of the pie that we will be getting. This Binance deal is definitely favorable to Voyagers, and it seems like the judge is on our side and does want this to go through. But this court docket goes over a whole lot. I wanted to quickly read this. Jurisdiction. The government argues that I overstep my jurisdictional authority, contending that I do not have the power to do anything in these Chapter 11 cases other than to resolve pre-petition claims. However, one of the things that must be resolved in every Chapter 11 plan and in a confirmation order with respect to a plan is what will happen to a debtor's assets. In this case, debtor's assets consist primarily of cryptocurrencies. The plan requires the purchase and sale of cryptocurrencies as part of the rebalancing effort, and it requires the distribution of cryptos to actual holders. Indeed, it would be impossible to have a liquidation of the Voyager debtors without some or both of these activities. So, I think that the DOJ's appeal is absolutely ludicrous. There is no ground for them to stand on in my eyes, and they are just throwing a wrench in this plan for the sake of throwing a wrench in the plan. One thing to realize is this can set major precedent moving forwards, or precedent, sorry. But this is a big moment for crypto if this bankruptcy does get approved, if the sale of Voyager to Binance does get approved. And it's the same with XRP. If the SEC gets shot down there, that's a huge win for crypto. But there's a lot of stuff to this. Sorry, I'm starting to get off track. Let's go over one more thing here. I do not believe there is merit to the government's other arguments. I have not enjoined the government's exercises of police and regulatory powers. I have not prospectively immunized the parties from enforcement actions, and I have not barred regulatory actions to stop the contemplated transactions. The government's arguments to the contrary are just hyperbole. I have made it quite clear that the government can step in at any time, that the government thinks the rebalancing transactions or crypto distributions should be stopped. My order also made quite clear that I have not purported to limit the liability of any person for anything they have done that I have not explicitly authorized or directed them to do. The order that I entered is narrow in scope and is limited to the protection of people who, at least for now in the absence of regulatory action, will have to do what my order requires. And then going on here, the SEC revealed cryptically, the SEC revealed cryptically at the close of the day on March 3 that the staff of the SEC believed that VGX token had aspects of a security without specifying what those aspects were, and that Binance.US was operating as an unregistered securities dealer without specifying why the staff thought so. There's so much just crap that the SEC and the DOJ is trying to throw our way, and this judge does seem like he's on our side. He does seem like he's getting irritated with the SEC and DOJ. Now let's go over this last part because this video is going to take a while to edit and I want to get it out to you guys. But public interest, finally, the public interest does not favor a stay, meaning waiting on this DOJ bullcrap. Notwithstanding the government's efforts to manufacture ambiguities or excess, the only thing my order does in that regard is to say that the parties who will engage in these activities should not in the interim be liable for doing what my order requires. I cannot imagine any public interest or equitable consideration that will require a different result. The public interest also favors the timely resolution of bankruptcy cases. As noted above, a stay would adversely affect many thousands of customers. Conclusion: as noted above, the parties have consented to a stay through 5 p.m. on March 20, 2023. For the reasons stated above, the government's request for a further stay pending appeal is denied. So let me know if I'm wrong here, but it looks like we have until March 20 for a definitive answer. It's definitely a date to look out for. And I will leave you guys this down below, as I said. And I'll leave you the site that you can access all of these dockets as they come out. They do come out quite frequently, but I'll leave you that down below as well. Let me know what you think about what's going on with Voyager. Do you think this judge is on our side, or do you think it's just smoke and mirrors? And how do you feel about VGX on the chart? It's definitely a bit concerning that VGX isn't going up as the alts go up while Bitcoin goes up. There isn't much of a correlation there. I think Voyager's success, Voyager token's success, all rests on this deal. And of course, Binance.US taking it under its wing and doing something with the crypto. But let me know your thoughts. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll see you later.